Hampshire as Sprint Cup Series first practice continues. And so much has been talked about the feel versus speed, how much it feels good but maybe doesn't have the speed. Let's dive into our NASCAR Heat Evolution animation and talk a little bit about setups in that feel.
Yeah, one of the biggest tools that crew chief has to work on the car is the bump stop. You see right here in the right front shock, there's 6 red donuts on there. They're plastic. That's a bump stop. And this is a very soft bump stop. You see how much movement the suspension has. Well, what a crew chief can do is put a much firmer bump stop. What do? You just remove some. You see there's only 3 little rubber stops here. The suspension moves much less. While that might seem better for speed, the car's going to ride rougher, DJ, and that's the mix. When you want the car to be comfortable, or do you want the car to be fast?
Yeah, it made my back hurt just watching that. But you can see, we talk about this track, there are a lot of bumps here, especially down into turn 3. And you can see just how much that splitter is moving here. It doesn't really ever get onto the surface, but you can see the big difference there. And from a driver, what we show there, I can promise you, it's about 3 or 4 times more than that inside the car as to what you feel. And we talk about drivers having back problems, they're exactly agree, because your crew chief puts in these things that make it so rough in there.
I tell everyone all the time, if it was a ride contest, we could win a ride contest, but this is a contest of speed. So the goal is lap time. As you ride along here with Joey Logano into turn 3, you're going to see his head kind of bounce a little bit getting down in. That makes this corner very difficult because the bumps make it hard to commit. And then you see him kind of play with the throttle to try to stay below that C1 exit.
Yeah, and those bumps are strategically placed right where you want to get off the gas and on the brakes, so that creates another issue for you. Down into turn 1, it's not nearly as bad as you can get there, but you really have to watch and monitor your braking into that corner.
Joey Logano was playing Loudon, New Hampshire, and this track is his home track. He's from Middletown, Connecticut, and has 2 wins already here at New Hampshire. Last one coming in 2014.
I like that corner exit right there. Took the car one time with a lot of commitment. He didn't seem to be playing with it as much. But, you know, the other thing we're going to talk about qualifying later today is how close the lap times are going to be. This knockout qualifying is going to be exciting because, you know, a few hundredths of a second is going to make a big difference. And we already heard both Kyle Busch say he didn't know where the lap time went. He thought it was going to be faster. We heard Austin Dillon say how he underdrove the car, but the lap time was really good. Now you expect your driver to go out there and put her lap time up to move forward to the next round, where it's so hard for them to understand how hard, you know, they are to drive. Yeah, so we talked about them. Look at the splitter, the front end of this 22 car right here. See how it moves up and down getting into the corner. This car is actually relatively controlled pretty well until right here. He's heavy on the brakes. Here are the bumps. You see 2 or 3 big bumps, a couple sparks underneath the front splitter. So the issue you have now is, as a driver, DJ, you're trying to figure out where you need to go, how much grip you have, and the front of the car's wanting to ride. So I can change the bump stop and make it go over really smooth, but then in the middle of the corner, the splitter comes up. Now the car gets tied off.
Yeah, and as a driver, as long as you're doing that going straight, it's a lot better situation than if you have those bumps down in the corner. And you were talking about going back to the throttle, and those hundreds of seconds is going to make a difference in spots and getting a good starting spot for Sunday's race. When you commit to that throttle in qualifying, you have to stay wide open. In the gas, or in the race, you're going to be playing with the gas all day. But when it comes down to qualify, once you commit and go to the throttle, you want to be able to stay wide open.
Very impressed by this young man. Alex Bowman, 12th quickest. And we noticed on the windshield, it still says Earnhardt Jr. It is his car, Earnhardt Jr.'s car. But that's Alex Bowman that is subbing for Dale Earnhardt Jr. because of concussion-like symptoms. And Dale said, I don't think I should go this weekend.
Yeah, and Greg Ives and this entire 80 team has done a good job of getting Alex Bowman laps. 38 laps today. As I look up and down time and scoring, I don't see a team that's run more laps. You know, that's really, we talked about the top of the show. It's a tough situation for a young man to get in. I mean, it's Earnhardt Jr.'s car, but it's also a great opportunity. So as a race team, the number one, I think, plan should be to give the young man an opportunity to show himself to the world. To do that, he needs experience, laps in this race car. He doesn't have a lot of, you know, sprint cup level experience, and it's much different than an Xfinity car.
We look at the speeds. Mark Truex Jr. ends up being fastest in this first practice session. Carl Edwards, Kyle Busch, the top 3, all Toyotas. Back a little further, Brad Keselowski was 11th. Alex Bowman, 13th overall. Jimmy Johnson, been so good, was 15th. Kevin Harvick, always in contention at this track, was 21st quickest. Look back through the field. Local Eddie McDonald back there, 38th. Coming up next, it's NASCAR Xfinity Series practice. Mike Massaro, Jeff Burton, Kyle Petty. We'll talk you through it. Be with you right here on NBCSN.